want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right. So that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then what is this? Says squeeze a quarter size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day, right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go, and make sure you tap into the link that's in the description. All right. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. It is Monday, a crazy Monday. Monday, July 15th, 2024, year of our Lord. Can we get a round of applause for everybody that's here for the Millionaire Morning Show? Yes, I am in the office in the studio today. And it is a little bit of a rearrangement, and it's just because I had rearranged everything so that I can make sure that I was recording, because we was in here shooting a whole lot of content and getting it in over the weekend. And so we had a little bit of an impromptu. And so instead of rearranging it, because usually I'm sitting that way and the camera is pointing this way towards the studio, instead of rearranging it, we just kept it the way that it is. But it was an incredible weekend. It was a crazy weekend. So much happening. What's going on to everybody in the chat? What up? What up? What up? If y'all was not tuned in, if you are not subscribed to the Anton Daniels channel, if you are not subscribed to the Millionaire Morning Show, then you absolutely missed out 100%. Let me make sure I raise my microphone to ensure that we capture everything. If you are not tuned in and you are not familiar with what was going on across the nation and everything that was happening, then you 100% missed out. 100% missed out because in my personal opinion, I had the greatest live stream personally that I've ever had because I was finally able to let loose and get into the thick of things and say what I really think. I think that a lot of times that we don't really get into it. We don't have the opportunity to say what we really think because we so focused on making sure that we capture the audience and entertain. But when you put away all of the BS and you start to get to the thick of things, and I see y'all in the chat, so I'm just, cleaning up, making sure that we get to it, preparing so that we can truly capture the heart of what's going on in America. And I think that that's what makes us unique over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. You know what I'm saying? It's what makes us unique because we don't have to pander. We don't have to acquiesce. We're not owned by nobody. And so we could just get straight to the thick of things. But we'll get to it. I got a full show lined up for y'all today. I did not anticipate this show happening today because you never anticipate for such tragedy that then turns into triumph. But we're going to get to that. What's up to my friends and family in the chat? I want to give an early shout out to my dog, Mike That Dude. Shout out to Mike That Dude. Shout out to everybody that continue to support me on every single platform that we have. Again, we're going to have the whole setting back to what it usually is, but had to pivot and get some stuff in. Shout out to Easy Money C says, good morning. Anton Daniels and friend, hope everyone is doing well. Also want to give a shout out to everybody that I kicked it. What up, Molly? What up, Mr. Lot? Messiah's daughter, Miss Lolita, J. Peasy, Yakar, Sanajoa, Marcus, Big Suggs, everybody, K. Cooper, everybody that's in the chat. Everybody that's in the chat, I just want to give a shout out to y'all because y'all hold me down. Y'all make sure that we run it up and we take care of business. Before we get started, let me give a shout out to our sponsor, Tiege Hanley. 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. 40 and 20. 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. That's the Tiege pack. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. It's a phenomenal product. Also, on top of that, I want to give a shout out to all of the chasers. Let me give a round of applause. I want to give a shout out to all of the chasers in the building. Shout out to the chasers. If you are not a part of the Patreon, then you are going to miss out on the video that I'm dropping today. I am dropping a Patreon exclusive video today. And it is very, very informative, chock full of information. We had to pivot because there's so much going on. I don't really even sleep. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I really don't sleep. It's a very, very good day when you can get 7 hours of sleep. 6-7 hours of sleep is like... And I'm probably going to drop a video on the Anton Daniels channel because the information that I'm giving y'all on the Patreon is much different than the general information that I give you on the Anton Daniels channel or on the Millionaire Morning Show here. So if you are not a part of the Patreon, the link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. More importantly, it is a crazy, crazy, crazy life that you live as a content creator if you are fully immersed and it's focused on mastering your craft and being the best at what you do. It's interesting. It's interesting. I'll talk about that on a later video on the Anton Daniels channel, probably tomorrow morning. But everything is such a whirlwind. You know what I'm saying? I meet a lot of people on a regular basis. I talk to a lot of people. I actually talked to a guy early this morning because I was over at the hotel making sure that everything was wrapped up with Mika's checkout. And so I kicked it with you. Shout out to you, big dog. I met a lot of people on the street, ran into some Hebrew Israelites that didn't have the same type of energy that they be having online, like nobody does. Nobody is the same online as they are in real life. You know what I'm saying? So very interesting weekend. No sleep, even on the weekends, and we get it in. So if you really want to master your craft and you want to be the best at what you do, you don't have to compete. It's different. It's absolutely different. But neither here nor there. Definitely want to make sure that we get it started with the show. Again, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to rock out with me. how about we get started with the show, because we got a full show, all coverage with relation to the assassination. Quick hits, we keeping y'all up to date a little bit on what's going on out in the streets, but we definitely want to keep y'all up to date on what's happening all across the nation, especially with regard to what happened over the weekend, especially if you were under. Do y'all know that, where was I at? I was riding my bike Sunday morning before I recorded a video, and I ran into some people, in the park or whatever, because a lot of people like to pray in the park and stuff like that early in the morning. And I'm like, yeah, man, yesterday was crazy. And they're like, what happened? I'm like, well, there was an assassination attempt on President Trump's life. Word. I'm looking like, what is happening in these streets? Listen, how do y'all know? And I'm going to get into it. And we're going to talk about this at the end of the show too. How do y'all know what's going on with Sexy Red, but y'all don't know what's going on with the president or upcoming president of the United States of America getting attempted assassination? How do y'all not know? Do y'all not have y'all Apple News on? Do y'all not open up y'all phone to anything except for OnlyFans? How do you not know that there's an assassination attempt and it's 24 hours later? Almost 24 hours, the next day, not quite 24 hours, but the next. How do you not know that there's an attempted assassination on President Trump? But if I ask you the latest lyrics or what was happening on the Pop the Balloon show, you all in. You could tell me every single detail. You could tell me what they were wearing. You know what shoes they had on, why the woman decided to pop the balloon. You know everything, but y'all don't know nothing that's going on with regard to what's really happening in your life. You don't know your We'll get there. I got all kind of thoughts. Today, but we absolutely gonna make sure that we run it up. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all ready to get into the quick hits? Let's get to it, man. Quick hits is a segment of the show that we don't want to necessarily, it's crazy, ain't it? We don't want to necessarily just, spend a whole segment dedicated to it, but we want to keep y'all informed on what's happening out in these streets. First things first, Jacoby Jones. So Jacoby Jones is a former NFL player, and he passed away at 40 years old this weekend. So he is a former Pro Bowler, and he's best known for his Mile High Miracle and his 2 touchdowns for the Ravens in the recent Super Bowl. So passed away at 40 years old. First, let me say this, man. To pass away at 40 years old is insane to me. Actually, it's not, coming from where we come from, but we are so used to being in a space where we wasn't expected to be certain ages, so to grow older is a blessing. But let me just go ahead and keep y'all up to date, and then I'm going to give y'all my thoughts. Pro Bowler, former Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens, died overnight on Saturday in his Houston area home. According to multiple reports, Jones, who celebrated his birthday on July 11th, just turned 40. Cause of death is not immediately clear, so I'm going to keep y'all up to date throughout the week on what's happening with that. Obviously, you're going to see all of the Instagram posts and the people that supposedly loved you and all of that. He was born in 1984. To think that he was born in 1984, and I was born in 1982, and he's already gone, and he was a world-class athlete, is crazy to me. Says the NFL Players Association released a statement Sunday afternoon on behalf of the Jones family, confirming that Jones passed away peacefully at his home in New Orleans. So did he die in Houston or did he die in New Orleans? Let me see something. Conflicting reports. Died overnight Saturday. All right. We don't need the ads. Died overnight Saturday in his Houston area home. So one report is saying, that's why they say multiple different reports, and we like to confirm and contrast. One report is saying that he died in his Houston area home. The NFL Players Association is saying that he passed away peacefully at his home in New Orleans. He was born and raised in New Orleans before attending Lane College in Tennessee. Then the NFL Players Association expressed sadness for the loss of the late receiver and said that the Jones family, including his mother and son, are together at this time. So he was married. So this is a statement by the NFLPA, the Players Association, says we want to express our gratitude for all of the kind thoughts and support you have shown us during this challenging time. Your ongoing support and respecting our privacy means a lot to us. I guess this is his family. We are deeply saddened to share that Jacoby Jones, beloved former Ravens football player from New Orleans and proud graduate of historically black college, has passed away at the age of 40. In a statement, the Jones family confirmed that Jacoby Jones passed away peacefully at his home in New Orleans, not in Houston. Family, including his mother and his son, little Jacoby, are together and asking for your prayers, privacy, support as they navigate through this difficult time. Yeah, man. I think he played 9 seasons, spent his first 5 seasons with the Houston Texans before signing with the Ravens in 2012. First team All-Pro, heading to the Super Bowl, Ravens championship winning in 2012. Wow. Well, rest in peace to him. I hope that his family finds some kind of peace within them. Hopefully it wasn't anything bad. But we got to make sure that as men also, I want to add this in there, we got to make sure that us as men, that we go get checked up, that we go to the doctor, that we take care of ourselves, that we also, place our health as a priority, maybe not the priority, but as a priority at the very least, especially for the people that are highly productive. So, Jacoby Jones, rest in peace. Hope everything goes well. In addition to that, burglaries are on the rise in Los Angeles. Check it out.
10 residential burglaries are on the rise here in Los Angeles. Burglars are targeting homes, not even caring that the residents are inside.
Some new data shows that crimes like this are heading in the wrong direction. Chris Wolf has more now from Larchmont Village.
Home burglaries are on the rise in Los Angeles. The unsettling trend is coming into focus with new statistics and information from the LAPD. Officials say the jump in burglaries is led by the LAPD's Wilshire division, which includes Larchmont Village, Fairfax, Hancock Park, Melrose, Miracle Mile, and Park La Brea, among several other communities. Wilshire has seen an increase of 86 additional residential burglaries in the first half of 2024 compared to this time period last year. Officers are dealing with organized crews and thieves using high-tech tools such as Wi-Fi jammers to disrupt home security systems. We spoke with one woman, Alex, who lives in the Larchmont area. She does not want to share her last name, but explains that she has security cameras inside and outside her home.
Life here is overall great, but I do have a Ring camera. We had one installed because of all of the burglaries that have been happening, and I would say I get notifications every couple of hours of a porch pirate or somebody trying to steal packages or people entering gates and trying to open windows.
LAPD Interim Chief Dominic Choi recently spoke to the police commission.
Year to date, our residential burglaries are up at 3.9% or plus 165 compared to 2023, and up 8.9% or plus 358 compared to 2022. Residential burglaries account for 56% of our total burglaries.
This is a crime map covered in black and red markers showing burglaries in the LA City area.
Jesus, what is going on in LA? Good God. They just running amok in LA. They just running in y'all crib. They don't even care if y'all there no more. Don't care about no cameras. Don't care about technology. None of that. Good God. And then the red ones is the ones where it's basically in the same neighborhood, at the same space, basically in the same house. And they just hit it more than one time. You can see one of them say 14. One of them say 2. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. I only see a bunch of 2s. I don't see no 14s. Jesus. And they don't even care. It's happening. It ain't happening. Actually, it's not even happening in the poor neighborhoods. It's happening in the neighborhoods. Well, I mean, is it even a poor neighborhood in Los Angeles at this point? Because all of the homes is like $1 million or more. Good God. Why would anybody want to live over there, man? Why would it? Honestly, and I'm asking myself this question because I always look at stuff as an opportunity, or I take into consideration the audience that's watching the show. Why would anybody want to live in Los Angeles when this is happening? Listen, if y'all keep trying to sell me on the weather, I'm not going. I'm not going. If y'all keep trying to sell me on weather, oh, it's because of that West Coast weather. At the sacrifice of getting your home burglarized, at the sacrifice of your taxes, at the sacrifice of rampant homelessness, and you can't go nowhere, and Los Angeles just ain't got the same cachet as it used to. It just don't have the same vibe as it used to. That's crazy.
Area and surrounding communities in 2024. Clearly, this is not just an LA City problem. What else do you do to protect yourself?
I have a camera inside my home as well, so I can kind of keep an eye on what's going on. Downstairs, we have bars on our windows. Upstairs, we have a...
Hey, remember when bars on your windows used to be a ghetto thing? To have bars on your windows was a sign that you are in a crime-ridden, poverty-stricken neighborhood because you didn't want to get anything broken into. That was usually what was going on. If you seen certain elements and you were looking at real estate or you were driving through a particular neighborhood and you seen people that had bars on their windows, the bars on your windows was supposed to prevent the burglars and the people from being able to get in. It's the same thing when it comes to a bars on the door, right? Because in the better neighborhoods, you see big doors, big red doors, open windows. Sometimes they don't even put their shades down. It's just windows to look out and see everybody. You don't have that problem. Now, in the most prestigious neighborhoods in Los Angeles, they got to put and spend extra money to have big gates. And this is not to keep the burglars out. This is ultimately to slow the burglars down. Bars on your windows, cameras everywhere, because you basically got to police yourselves. You got to make sure that you protect yourselves. And so in the hood, we knew that it was going to be a slow response time, or the police was always busy doing something else that took more priority, or the police wasn't going to come and save you. And so it was bars on your windows, bars on your doors, all of that. And so the only thing that you had to worry about was getting carjacked before you actually got home or somebody waiting in your bushes to set you up. You know what I'm saying? But once you was in the house, you had a little bit of peace because you had a lot of barriers to entry before the burglar got, or the people that was trying to get to you got to you. Now, this is happening everywhere inside of Los Angeles. So it's really messed up. It's messed up out there in these streets. Be careful if you live in Los Angeles, because you might be a victim, not a victor. You know what I'm saying? And then last but not least, the Republican National Convention is underway. Man, timing is crazy, ain't it? Check it out.
Let's go back to John. Carl, I understand you have a new statement from the RNC.
Yeah, this is a joint statement from the Trump campaign and from the Republican National Committee, and we just got this in, so I'm going to be reading this to you for the first time here on the air. A statement from the Trump campaign and the RNC. As was communicated earlier this evening, President Trump is doing well and grateful to law enforcement and to first responders for their fast action. President Trump looks forward to joining you all in Milwaukee as we proceed with our convention to nominate him to serve as the 47th President of the United States. As our party's nominee, President Trump will continue to share his vision to make America great again. So the key line there is that President Trump looks forward to joining you here in Milwaukee to continue the plans for our convention. Nothing is changing here in terms of the convention going forward. In fact, an individual I spoke to who has been involved in the planning here said they were still working things out, but predicted that the convention wouldn't just continue, but it will continue with a vengeance. I expect not just all 4 days of this convention to take place, but it to be a very energized convention and very much focused on portraying Donald Trump as somebody who couldn't even be stopped by an attempted assassin.
It's a great time to be a Republican. It is a phenomenal time to be a conservative, I think, right now. And I think that it goes in waves. Do I think that Republicans will continue to hold and then keep a strong hold on what's going on in politics right now? The Democrats has fumbled so bad. And we know that the Democratic National Convention that's going to be in Chicago after the Republican National Convention is going to be an opportunity for them to try to figure out how they can put out fires. What we going to do? How we going to do it? The Republican National Convention is basically an opportunity for them to celebrate and then continue to push forward. It's like One side is on the defense, trying to hold back the troops, and then the other side is basically leading the movement and they going forward. But the one thing that I know about people is that they fickle. And so once you get used to something for a specific amount of time, I think that we'll have Republicans in office probably for the next 8 years, and then it's going to switch. It always switch somehow. Oh, man, we need more liberal policies and all of this. So it's going to switch. But right now, it's y'all time. It's our time. People that are more conservative, it's their time. And so the Republican National Convention, I wish I could be there. The problem with heading over to Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention is that I have some interviewees and some people flying into town because I'm shooting some exclusive content for the Patreon members. So bag chasers, look forward to this exclusive content. Actually, one of the people that I got flying in this week is Christiana Hurt. So she's going to be teaching everything that she knows about e-commerce. We might do some content to where we release to the general public, but for the most part, a lot of the exclusive content that I'm going to be bringing people in for is going to be just for the Patreon members. So we're working on some great things. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. All right. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats and the Cash App, and then I'm going to continue on with the show. Jamal Parks is in the building, says, how do you function off of 4 to 5 hours of sleep? I've trained myself of now to function off of 6 hours, but 3 to 4 is a challenge. Is it pure drive? Management? It's a little bit of both, to be honest with you. Shout out to you. That's a phenomenal question. I will say that I do not recommend it. I do not recommend it. I am not one of those people that's going to sit here and tell you, oh, man, you should be only sleeping 4 hours, 5 hours. No. Sometimes it could be a miserable life. It could be a miserable life. For me in particular, everything I do is based off of my calendar, right? So I know that I'm going to suffer maybe, let's just say, for example, hypothetically, I know I'm going to suffer for the next 3 days. I know that I got a live stream at a certain time. So on Monday nights, I'm a live stream. And remember, all of this is Eastern Standard Time. So I'm a live stream from 10. Hopefully we get started on time if everybody show up on time. It's Monday night. We're doing a Q show tonight. So we're going to live stream at 10 o'clock all the way to 1 o'clock, at least 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I got to get back up at 4:30 in the morning. So Mondays is really rough, which means that I know that I'm only going to get like 2.5, maybe 3 hours of sleep if I'm lucky. And then I'm going to be doing a Millionaire Morning Show in the morning. So what I'll also do is I'll take a 2-hour nap prior to going live on the Q show, right? You see what I'm saying? So from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m., I'll take a 2-hour nap, wake up, get up, do the show, and then I'm going to get only 2 to 3 hours of sleep going into it. So that's probably going to be one of the rougher nights. Then I got to pre-record, and I got to do all of this for my schedule, whatever. So in order for me to even maintain some kind of sanity, I have to operate off of my calendar. My Google Calendar saves me. It allows for me to continue to be productive while at the same time pushing for me to still get a little bit of the sleep or be able to manage when I can get in a nap or some sleep, which is one of the reasons why sometimes I'll crash out in the studio. I got a whole bedroom inside of the studio. I live close, so it only take me 10 minutes to get back to the apartment. But if I got something that I got to take care of on corporate America, because I'll be dialed into corporate America, I can get right back to it. And so you learn how to manage your calendar and your time more effectively. Sometimes I can catch up on sleep on the weekend, but it's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice in a lot of ways. And so sometimes people will say, well, how come men can't manage both? Why is it so hard for women to be able to get your time? Because our objective is to win. And so everything around us in a way kind of suffers, including the fact that you may not be able to spend as much time with your daughter during a week, which is one of the reasons why you have to have a strong wife. You may not necessarily be able to go out and do some of the same things that everybody. When everybody else is partying, I'll give you another example. We sitting out and we chilling at the bar and we in our section, we in our little booth. It's me, Rita, Mika, 2 other girls, whatever. So it's me and it was 4 other girls and we was all chilling. And then an assassination attempt happened. Immediately, at first I'm like, nah, I'm not going to go. You know what I'm saying? We just going to chill. We all having a good time. I don't really stream on the weekends or nothing like that. And they all looking at me like this. Come on, we'll be all right. We about to go to the rooftop after this. We're going to smoke some cigars. We're going to party afterwards. I wound up partying until like 3 o'clock in the morning after I got done with the live stream on Saturday. But I was like, okay, you're right. I got up, caught public transportation, jumped on the queue line, went straight, because I was on Woodward already. My office is literally down the street. Jumped on the queue line, came straight to the office, and then thumbnail, fired up, we on. And so a lot of people take for granted the sacrifice that's made from your favorite content creators, the ones that are actually good, not the ones that just willy-nilly think that they can do it. A lot of times people take for granted what the content creators sacrifice in order to make sure that they get it. So a lot of people will say, well, you make all this money and you always talking about your watches and your cars and stuff, but you don't see the type of work that we put in order to master our craft. You don't see the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we spend on our equipment. The fact that I have a studio, that I got a corporate office or a corporate apartment that's down the street. You know what I'm saying? So not only are we good at what we do, we put in our time, we make the sacrifice, our family suffers. You can't party like everybody else. Sometimes you just gotta get off of what everybody else is doing, and you may miss sleep. So you know, people think that it's easy and that you just wake up and, oh man, they just got a lot of followers or it's a lot of people that subscribe to their channel. No, we grind, we hustle. We wanting to go to the show and do stuff, and we be out doing stuff and partying. But then we got to make the sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the way that it goes. And so I'm never going to complain about it because I'm living my dream. But at the same time, I understand what comes with it. Phenomenal question. Jamal Parks, I don't think it's a way that you can. You just got to get it in where you can. Rod's Quadrant. Shout out to Rod's Quadrant. Says, AD, I want to thank you for keeping everyone focused on the task at hand. You were right about boomers and Gen X folks being a bit too stubborn to get on board. Your focus and guidance have been greatly appreciated. Thank you, Rod's Quadrant. I never take for granted the fact that people find value in what we do over here at the Millionaire Morning Show, the Anton Daniels and After Hours, and so I appreciate you. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for continuing to hold me down, big dog. I like fried rice, G says, AD, good morning. The new time has been a bit difficult to catch, but I've been keeping up with the replay crew. Thank you for all your insight and wisdom. Well, I just thank you for rocking out with me. And it's always available for replay, and then we throw in the timestamps in order for y'all to be able to more easily find what you're looking for. Let me look at a couple of these cash apps. I want to say thank you to Chris Donaldson, says, for what you do, AD. Respect you, OG, and thank you. No, thank you for the 20 ball. Thank you. And then I also want to give a shout out to my girl, Molly. Shout out to Molly with the 25 for the collection plate. Thank you, my baby. I appreciate you. Thank you, Molly. I appreciate you, love. And thank you to everybody that support the platform. Let's continue on with the show. Let's talk about I don't want to get into that. Let's just talk about the assassination attempt itself, right? Now, on Saturday, there was a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. And during that rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, as Trump was getting ready to really get in his bag about what was going on in the country and why he should become the next president of the United States of America, there were people that had ulterior motives, and we'll get into what I believe, in my theory, what I believe those ulterior motives are. There were people that had ulterior motives because they didn't want to see him ever make it alive to November for us to be able to vote for President of the United States of America. Just for a recap, for those of y'all that wasn't a part of what we was doing on Saturday and you didn't catch the live stream or you didn't catch the replay, this is basically what happened.
I'm now going to show you the moment that just happened when the former president was speaking at his rally. Let's watch that video.
Take a look at what happened.
Okay. So what you are watching is video from just a few moments ago when former President Donald Trump was on stage at his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. You see the Secret Service who were surrounding him. You see how they got him to the ground and that they were waiting to move him after we heard those noises. We don't know what those noises were at this point. We do know that they get him off this stage and that the former president was in his armored vehicle. They have now left the site of that incident. So the former president, Donald Trump, no longer there at that rally site in Butler, Pennsylvania. I'm going to let you watch more to see this full thing unfold. You see they move him off the stage.
I got you, sir. Let me get my shoes, sir. Hold on, your head is bloody. So we got to move to the bus.
He is standing up.
Watch out.
It's unclear what his status is, but you see him put his fist up, and you see him doing a...
You know that's going to be the greatest picture of 2024. When they wind up doing the recap, and they wind up having a conversation, and you see the blood that's splattered across his face, it's going to be one of the greatest pictures of 2024, historical moment. If at any time, I'm not sure that there's a time in Trump's life where you can point to and say, man, that is the greatest moment of his life. That is the thing that is going to define who he is in the legacy and in the eyes of the people that surround him. Before we even get to the assassination attempt, realistically, like, you never really have a rocky moment that's captured by the general public in the social media era. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never have a rocky moment. This is a rocky moment to have your ear bleeding and blood splattered across your face, coming across your whole frontal. The Secret Service is protecting you. You saying, hey, man, let me get my shoes. And then you come out of the melee and then say, fight with your fists in the air. Can't nobody beat that. Nobody can beat that in history at all. It was the wildest thing when I started watching it, because, you know, when you first get the news, you don't really believe what's going on. And so you are automatically skeptical because you don't know if people are telling the truth or if somebody is putting out fake news or something like that. And then as I start to see all of the text messages, and shout out to your car, shout out to all of y'all that was texting me on Saturday, as I started to see all of this stuff come forth, and then I started to pay attention to it, and I watch it because I want to know what I'm talking about before I start to jump on my live stream on Saturday. I'm like, oh my. First thing that come to my head was, is he okay? Second thing that comes to my mind is greatest moment for him to capitalize off of and make sure that not only did he submit the fact that he's going to become president of the United States of America, but he 100% created a moment for himself, for his family, and it's something that you'll never, ever be able to take away. I see people already selling shirts, fake merchandise. They selling shirts. I seen people that was comparing them to 50 Cent. I seen people that had them, they already started making memes with the Many Men song. And you know what else is happening? Liberals are mad about it. Liberals are mad about it. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They are pissed. Absolutely pissed. 100% pissed. Of all of my in-person debates, right? Because I had jumped on the queue line and I kind of talked to y'all about this when I was on my way to the studio. And I had a little bit of a debate / conversation on the queue line on a little train to come back to the office. Thank you for the super chats. I'm going to be reading that shortly. To come back to the office so that I could live stream with y'all on Saturday. And it was older people.
It appears like he's saying
fight. It was older
fight.
people, 2 older women, 1 black older man, and it was a white man. And the train was full. When I see the conversation in the debate, and I might have to be able to pull it up. I don't know if I was able to show y'all because I think I took a picture. The conversations was not happening like just a few people on there. It was a full, and when I say full, I mean it was a full train. I ain't even got it on there. But those of y'all that's following me on Instagram, make sure y'all follow me on all of my social media. The link is in the description. You know that it was full. I mean, Detroit was bussing. It was full of people. So, you know, I'm not the one to be quiet or to mince words. And when I was having a conversation, it shows the sentiment of people, because older people, they so bitter. They're so stuck in their ways. They're so steadfast. And the first thing that they did is they expected, because I was a black man, to automatically align with the fact that they didn't like Trump. So when it was announced on the train that Trump had an assassination attempt on their life, the first thing that they said was, oh, good. I didn't like him anyway. Hopefully he don't survive. Have we become so broken as a people? And I'm going to get to this towards the end of the show because I got some thoughts that I need to get off that I wasn't able to get off on Saturday, that I wasn't able to get off this morning. Have we become so evil and broken as a people that we would wish death on a presidential candidate because you don't like whether or not he buzzed down Stormy Daniels? Or you were so easily finessed by the news that you actually believe everything they told you versus doing your own research? And they were so bothered and aggravated at the fact that not only was I able to stand my ground when it comes to speaking towards the things that I like about him or the things that I don't like about what's going on in the president who's currently running the country right now, and that they couldn't debate it. The most dangerous man that you can be, the most dangerous person that you could be is an educated person. Because when you can coherently communicate your thoughts versus just operating out of passion and feeling, but when you can combine that passion with coherent thoughts, it makes you dangerous. And not only does it make you dangerous, it makes everybody else around you look stupid because they can't combat you even though they don't like you, but it's difficult for them to be able to stand against you. That's why when I drop the link in the description, then I say, okay, you feeling some type of way? Be froggy, leap up, let's have a conversation. They never show up. If y'all notice, everybody that has a live stream or everybody that does a video and they say, I don't like Anton Daniels or something like that, they never, ever show up. See, I'm the boogeyman. I'll show up. I'll come to your stream. I'll come to your city. I'll see what's happening. I'll say what up. But they never show up. They never actually have a conversation or a debate with you in person. It's because I'm dangerous. And not only am I dangerous, but you dangerous. And what makes you even more dangerous is that you guys are informed voters. And so when you seen this thing play out, you no longer was subjected to the thing that your grandparents and your parents told you to do just because you black, or just because you didn't have nothing when you was growing up, or just because they continue to try to sell this narrative to you that black people need to vote Democrat just because we black. And then if you ask a question similar to how they used to do us in church, hey, don't ask questions, just be obedient. Don't ask questions, just jump. Well, why am I jumping? Because we praising God. Oh, okay, well, I thought that this... No, just keep going. When you start asking questions, then you start to become a leper. And they don't believe it. So as we watch this unfold...
it looks as if there might be blood on his ear. Again, these are pictures we are just seeing for the first time right now as the former president is led off the stage in Butler, Pennsylvania, after we heard loud noises and he was rushed to the ground, and then you see the Secret Service around him, getting him into his vehicle. Now, we do not know where he has gone. We just know that he was put into that car right there while you see his fist in the air. It does appear as if there is some blood on his ear, unclear how that happened. Secret Service get him into the vehicle and rush him off that site and get him out of there. Again, we don't know where the former president is at this exact moment, only that he was taken away from the rally site there in Butler, Pennsylvania. Again, if you were just tuning in, former President Donald Trump was minutes into his rally there in Pennsylvania when we heard loud noises. He was thrown to the ground by Secret Service agents who then rushed him in, as you're watching now, to that car and drove him off site. Our reporter, Elena Treen, witnessed this all unfold. Elena, I think you're here with us. I want to go out to Elena so she can tell us more of what she saw from her vantage point. Elena?
Hi, Jessica. Yeah, so it's been a very chaotic couple of minutes. A lot of tension right now out here. So as you mentioned, Donald Trump was on stage. It was just moments after he had walked onto the stage to deliver remarks. He was very briefly into that. And so I'm going to show you behind me. So around this area, somewhere off on that field over there, is where we heard a bunch of banging or cracking, loud cracking noises. At first I thought, is that fireworks? I had no idea what it was. all of a sudden everyone started screaming. On the other side of the rally, on the other side of the stage, a lot of steam went off back here, right behind that tractor over there, if you can see it. And all of a sudden you heard Secret Service security guards on the ground, everyone telling everyone to get down, to move, to move. I actually had to jump off this riser right here and went under the riser, so I didn't get to see everything that was happening as Donald Trump was being moved off the stage. But clearly right now everybody is being evacuated from this rally venue. They are very angry. You can hear people in the crowd some people are crying, some people are screaming. People are very angry with what just happened. They're angry at the media. They're screaming at the media behind me. Very unclear exactly what happened. We know that Donald Trump, of course, left the venue immediately. He was
So long story short, a lot of y'all wasn't familiar with what's going on in these streets because you didn't want to participate in what's happening. So you catching it secondhand. It was an incredible Saturday. It was something that was tragic, in my opinion, but ultimately it turned out into being a triumph. Tragedy turns to triumph when you are an overcomer. All right. I'm gonna read the super chat shortly, but before I read the super chats, well, let's read the super chats, and then we can continue on with the show, because I want to go into Secret Service and how they failed and whether or not I see a lot of y'all in the chat talking about I would never want a Secret Service woman or a bodyguard as a woman. Is that sexist for people to say that I would never want a woman as a Secret Service agent? Shout out to P. Shank. P. Shank is in the building, says, good morning, Anton Daniels in a Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to P. Shank. My dog, Philip Sadiq, says Trump is built different. I agree with you. Shout out to Philip Sadiq. Thank you for holding me down. Artifacts is in the building, says, I got the super sticker for you, dog. Thank you, Artifacts, for continuing to support the platform. I appreciate you. The Cultivator says, so tired of hearing people say that this is staged. We have lost all critical thinking skills. Well, listen, when you hear people say stuff like that, they're reaching for straws. It's anything. It's anything. When you hear people say stuff like, oh man, it's staged, they were saying that before they ever even found out what was happening in the details and the shooter, and we're going to get into all of that, right? They were saying that, oh man, this is just because. You are going to have people saying the wildest of things, no matter what, unsubstantiated. They don't give the benefit of the doubt. Listen. You have a better chance of a woman. You have a better chance of a woman coming out and saying, he did something to me, believe all women, than you have of watching a real-time video of a president getting his ear shot off. They'll believe a woman before they believe a president. They will believe a woman accusing a man of something that he may or may not have done. And they will sell you on a narrative to believe that you will believe the same people, honest to God, the very same people, some of the very same people that say believe all women was sitting here saying it was staged. I watched Amanda Seales. I did a review video on it. Amanda Seales, think about this for a second. The first thing that she did was she said that it was staged, and then she started referring to her Broadway play days. But this is the exact same woman that stood for Jussie Smollett and said, make sure that you believe him. I can't believe that y'all not believing him. This is racism. And then when we all found out and it was proven that Jussie Smollett lied and tried to manufacture this obviously wrong story to say that somebody or two white men, when it turned out to be two Africans, went over there and beat him up on the coldest day in Chicago while he was on his way out to go get some Subway at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know what she said? Well, I mean, it was noble. She said that it was noble. Noble. So what a lot of y'all got to understand when y'all listening to these people and y'all going back and forth, what a lot of y'all have to understand is that when you hear these people say certain things, it's not for you to defend. You just listen, take it in, and not every conversation needs to be had. Not every argument needs to be argued. You don't have to convince. Look, I'm never going to try to convince somebody that's dead set on thinking what they want to think, especially these older people or these super liberals. I'm not going to spend my precious time trying to convince them otherwise. But what I will do is use them as an example of how ignorant that they are so that I can convince the people that truly are looking for information so that they can compare and contrast and then be able to make the decision for themselves. We don't use these people as an opportunity to prove them wrong. We use them as an example so that we can then show you what you shouldn't be or give you information so you can make your own informed decision. We're not trying to convince these people. We're not trying to convince these people that's dead set that's going to vote the way that they're going to vote regardless. We're not trying to tell them to do anything different. We using them as examples. They punching bags. They crash dummies. That's like trying to convince a man not to be a stepbaby daddy. He gonna do that anyway. He gotta see, he gotta suffer for himself before he can make an informed decision on why he gotta go through it so we can use him as an example of what not to do. We're not trying to convince him. We're using him as an example. Anyways, let's get into the moment the Secret Service takes out the shooter.
My guys, take a look at that chart.
It is exactly what these counter snipers trained to do. But this was the first time in history, according to a former senior agent, that a Secret Service sniper killed a would-be assassin. But clearly a shot too late. In the moments leading up to the deadly shooting, you can see those two counter snipers scanning for threats in their positions on the rooftop behind former President Trump.
If you've ever been to a rally, which I have, I've been to several. If you ever even been to the White House, what you can see is people that are all around. See, they're not going to show you this on TV. And because a lot of y'all don't come outside, you're not familiar with what the norm is and what has been normalized when you actually participate in a lot of these things, right? If you even went to the NFL draft, the draft was here in Detroit, and you look into the water, you can see all of the snipers. You can see snipers on top of roofs. You can see police officers patrolling in the water. If you go and walk over to the White House and you do a tour in Washington, D.C., you can see them walking on the roof. You can see them paying attention and seeing everybody that's around them. This is normal for those of you guys that are not familiar. This is normal. Before these presidents, before these legislators even come into your sphere, they've already scoped out every high point and all of that. So what I have drawn the conclusion of is that this has to be an inside job. This is my theory. I can't prove it. I can't substantiate it. So I have to preface it by saying, and using my platform responsibly, by saying that I believe, even in Trump's circle, and the same way that you can't even trust some of the people that's around you because they'll sell you out for 50 cents, some bubble gum and a Diet Coke and a corned beef sandwich, is the same way that I believe that he was set up as an inside job. Because if you've ever been to any one of these things or you ever familiar with what's going on, you ain't even going to attempt to try to do no junk like that. I believe 100% that this was inside.
Their high-powered rifles appear to be pointed in the direction.
Some people are saying Secret Service failed. I don't think that it's a fail. I think that it was something that was intentional. We'll get there.
Of the gunman's position on an adjacent building overlooking the rally. Within seconds, chaos.
He's going down! Stand here. He's on top of the roof. Don't go
does that sound like popcorn to y'all, like Amanda Seals? Let me rewind that for the people in the back. I want to know, does this sound like a Broadway play popcorn? Like Amanda, she just needs to just take that down. She needs to get off the internet for like 6 months. Disappear for like 6 months. Get her mind right and come back. Tell me if this sounds like a Broadway play.
Overlooking the rally. Within seconds, chaos.
He's going down!
That sounds nothing like a Broadway play to me.
Stand here. He's on top of the roof. Don't go over there.
The sniper appears momentarily startled by the gunfire, his face leaving the scope, but then quickly recovering and taking out the would-be assassin.
There's no room for error, so that shot placement has to be absolutely precise.
We can see the guy there.
Authorities saying this is the lifeless body of the shooter on the roof of that building. According to a former agent, Secret Service counter-sniper teams should have scoped out and advanced all those areas where there were potential threats beforehand and known what the line of sight to Trump could be.
The fact that somebody was able to get within 200 yards with a rifle and be on an exposed rooftop, be seen by other people there, be seen by where it should have been cameras and drones and many other things in place to watch for that, something broke down. That shooter with that rifle should have never been that close to the former president of the United States at a venue.
Anastasio, I will say this. I've been doing extensive research, right? Because I'm trying to understand everything, and it's coming to me in the same way that it's coming to y'all, right? But because I have a platform, it's important for me to do a deeper dive and try to find out every single thing. So I've been watching interviews and going back and looking at different requests from the White House and the denials and all of that. And one of the things that is a fact, it's not even my opinion, this is a fact, is that former president and future president Donald Trump requested additional Secret Service. They've been requesting this for years. All while they were trumping up charges and trying to get him up out of office and trying to make him out to be a felon and doing everything that they can, doing every single thing that they can to prevent him from trying to be nominated as the Republican nominee so that the people can choose of whether or not he can be president of the United States of America. They've been asking for additional service members and additional resources to protect him at his homes, at his rallies, at everything. And he'd been denied 10 times out of 10. A lot of people Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up. I'm sorry. Give me a second. It's been widely known and reported. A lot of y'all forgot, but Anton didn't. There's multiple different sites that you can reference back to, and that supports exactly what it is that they said. Mayorkas denied repeated requests for more Secret Service. The House Homeland Security Committee. Well, who is Mayorkas? Let's look him up for a second. Mayorkas, this guy right here, Mayorkas, he's the same man that they were trying to remove from office. This is a fact. This is not my opinion. This is the same person that they were trying to fire from leaving the borders open and letting over 15 million plus immigrants, illegal immigrants, into the country. I did a whole live stream on him. I did a whole live stream on Mayorkas. He's the same person that oversee and is supposed to be making sure that we keeping our borders under control. And so he's very much protected by the Biden administration because he's a part of the Biden administration. And so they were trying to remove him from office. This is the same person that repeatedly denied. And I'm not saying that he was up to anything. I'm not saying that it was intentional. I don't know what's going on. I'm just telling you the facts. I can give my opinion later, but I'm telling you the facts. This is the same person that is the head of the Department of Homeland Security who's overseeing and actually participated in trying to prevent Texas from securing its own borders And when they were calling for the removal of him by several different legislators, including Congress members, when they were calling for his removal, it was denied. Why? Why? I don't know. But he's also the person that denied multiple different requests for additional Secret Service for protection from Trump. That is a fact. That is not my opinion. A House Republican lawmaker is alleging that Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas denied stronger Secret Service protection for former President Trump on multiple times. Made the accusation hours after Trump was grazed by a bullet. This is not my opinion. All I'm doing is presenting to you what it is that I've been researching and what I've been paying attention to. And the funny thing about all of this is that you don't realize that it is what it is until after something happens. Then you start having all of these epiphany moments and you say, man, I did a report on this. Man, I did a report on that. Man, I remember that live stream. And all of those live streams are still up. All of those clips are still up. And so when they made these requests for additional Secret Service members, they said no. No, according to multiple different sources. Am I off? Only if the reports are. Only if the Congress members are. Only if the legislators are. Am I off? Maybe that's a conspiracy theory too, right? All I'm doing is reporting to you the real. Let's continue.
You like this?
So let's bring in Martha Raddatz on that point tonight. And Martha, you said it would be up to a Secret Service sniper team to have surveyed those buildings even beyond the perimeter, the security perimeter there. And the other question, though, is even if they had, is there an explanation as to why they wouldn't have seen that suspected shooter suddenly appear on the roof during that rally? This was some 8 minutes into the rally.
David, it's really unclear why they did not see him sooner. He obviously had time to climb onto that rooftop with a rifle, get in position to shoot, take aim, and fire off rounds that were accurate enough to come very close to killing former President Trump, David.
And Martha, you've covered so many of these political rallies yourself. I've covered them as well, and we've been in those crowds. And almost as reporters, I mean, we're not on the lookout, certainly, but you generally do look at the perimeter. It's something that you're kind of drawn to, particularly in your line of reporting as our global affairs correspondent. You've been to war zones all over the world, and in the midst of this very deeply divided country, you almost out of curiosity look around, which is why it's not surprising that there have been initial reports that a witness or two might have spotted something suspicious up on top of that roof, because it really wasn't that far away.
It really wasn't, and in fact, I think initial reports had it even farther away, but it was about 150 yards, and there were people gathered around that area. I'm in Washington, D.C. I see the president all the time and motorcade, so just as you say, David, we're very aware of that and ourselves looking around in that kind of environment, and witnesses do say they saw the shooter somewhere near that rooftop, David.
So that is what's happening from that perspective, all right? That is what's happening from that perspective. Man, as the sun started coming up, the lights started changing a little bit, don't it? Let me do this a little bit. All right, we good. Let me read some of the super chats, and then we're going to continue to deep dive into the show, y'all. Juan Solo ATL says, the fact CNN wouldn't say that it was is sad. P. Rothstein 216 says, it was a setup, Anton. The more that you watch videos in the stream, it will become more apparent. J. Dallas 23 says, but when we say the election was rigged, we were wrong, though. High Tolerance is in the building, says, Donald Trump being rushed off the stage into the SUV was a sequential cluster F and looked more like a scene from Police Academy. Agreed. Bond Life says, there was a prophet that predicted Trump attempt in March 2024. YouTube, 3 prophets explain 3 American solar eclipses. The Name Joe says, I got this fat ball for you, big dog. Thank you for my dog, the Name Joe. Chatford Morris is in the building. I appreciate you, Chatford. Chatford says, good morning from California. What up to my Cali friends? What if this was staged by Trump to gain the additional support because we don't need Biden again? He was already winning in every swing state, though. And why would I risk getting shot in the face? Think about this for a second. So you telling me I'm just going to ask the questions, and then you can fill in the blanks. I'm going to risk getting shot in the face, and I'm going to take the risk by allowing a 20-year-old to take a sniper shot at me from 150 yards away, kill somebody in the back of me, and then also he get killed in the process. I'm going to take a risk. He going to miss my brain by mere millimeters, but I'm going to take a risk and tell him, hey, man, just make sure you shoot me in the ear. Just graze my ear. I'm moving while I'm talking, but just graze my ear so I can make sure that I look strong even though I'm winning in the polls in every swing state. Every swing state. I don't know. I mean, hey, anything is possible, I guess. Chris J says, although I believe Secret Service knew about this ahead of time briefly, how did they allow a G-man to get in a position with a putrid response time to Trump? I have no idea. Questions. P. Rothstein says he was on a rifle team in high school. They have these sports in rural areas. Yeah, I know they have those sports in rural areas. Shout out to everybody that continue to support the platform. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I don't know. I just ask the questions, and I try to be logical about it. But I just ask the questions. I'm just asking the questions because I know that on the flip side, they're trying to say, well, it was staged. It was something that was automatic and all of this stuff. I'm not going for it. So let's pivot for a second. Let's go to Biden's 2 press conferences. I know he had one immediately right after the Trump situation, which he was saying that he was trying to figure out what was going on. But they had a couple more. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get to it, y'all.
Good afternoon. Last night, I spoke with Donald Trump. I'm sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering, and we had a short but good conversation. Jill and I are keeping him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed. He was a father. He was protecting his family from the bullets that were being fired, and he lost his life. God love him. We're also praying for the full...
God love him? I thought it was God bless him. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to get this guy, even when he's trying to be compassionate, to have a coherent thought.
Recovery of those who were injured. And we're grateful to the Secret Service agents and other law enforcement agencies and individuals who risked their lives literally for our nation. As I said last night, there is no place in America for this kind of violence or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not America. And we cannot allow this to happen. Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change, but we're going to not lose sight, in fact, who we are as Americans. Look, Vice President Harris and I were just briefed in the Situation Room by my Homeland Security team, including the Director of the FBI, the Secretary of Homeland Security.
Homeland Security team, you mean Mayorkas?
The Attorney General, the Director of the Secret Service, my Homeland Security Advisor, the National Security Advisor, and we're going to continue to be briefed. The FBI is leading this investigation, which is still in its early stages. We don't yet have any information about the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I urge everyone, please, don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and their partner.
Hey, how many people, just respectfully, because I'm going to just tell you that these branches of government, they don't have the best of reputations historically. Historically, they do not have the best reputation for presenting us, with the facts. It's too many holes. There's too many things that didn't happen in the past and all of that. And I know that it's necessary, or maybe it's not. I don't know. I think that some of these things need to probably be removed and disbanded. It's too many alphabet community letters as it is. But just respectfully, how many of us are confident with these different government agencies doing their job to the best of their ability in order to provide us with all of the information that we need in order to make an informed decision. Just a question. Just a question.
Our agencies do their job. I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done. Look, as this investigation continues, here's what we're going to do. First, Mr. Trump, as a former president and nominee of the Republican Party, already receives a heightened level of security.
Is that directly in contradiction of what we literally just read and what I just discussed in the previous part of this show? He has a heightened level of security now. Now he has a heightened level of security, but did he have it prior to? See, anybody can come and react to it, but have we always been preventative as far as man, come on, bro. Come on, man. And this is the disingenuous part. This is the part that bothers me, because it's like, I would rather you not even speak on it than to say something that you know does not align with the truth. And so they put half truths out there and they say, man, he already got heightened level of security. Well, yeah, he already has it now that we've seen what happened in order to protect them. Who in their right mind would do something like this now? When they was allegedly requesting for additional security, they saying that he was turned down.
And I've been consistent in my direction to the Secret Service to provide him with every resource, capability, and protective measure necessary to ensure his continued safety. Second, I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of the national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened.
Who was the independent reviewers? That's who I want to know. When a lot of these legislators say, well, listen, we've directed for an independent review of the Secret Service and National Security Survivors. Independent review of the National Security Survivors. Who are these independent reviewers and where did they come from? Is it an outside agency? Is it a consulting agency? Who owns it? Who's a part of the lobbyist group that got the contract to be able to do it? It's not associated with the federal government. It's a different branch of the federal government that operated like its own. What is it? Is it Homelander that's coming in and talk about it? Who is the individuals and the independent reviewers that does the assessment to figure out whether or not, or who failing at their job and all of these different alphabet agencies that's a part of the federal government? Who? Because they just throw these terms out there like we just supposed to go with it. Listen, we're not going with nothing no more. We want to know every single detail and tell us what's happening out in these streets.
And we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well. And finally, I'll be speaking more about this tonight at greater length from the Oval Office. We must unite as one nation. We must unite as one nation to demonstrate who we are. And so may God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
Let's go over to that press conference from the Oval Office of what he said. I actually did a review video on this, but I want to give some more context. I did a review video last night on the Anton Daniels channel, but I want to give some more context to this.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics.
Y'all said Lori Lightfoot, as soon as she leave from Dalton and investigating Tiffany Henyard, she going to go and do an independent review? Hey, I know that Chicago and Los Angeles and Oakland, and I know that there are cities like, thank you, Jesus. Anton is finally not doing a live stream on us, and he finally not highlighting all of the violence that happened over these crazy weekends in these crazy cities, and all of the bankruptcies and the burglaries and the budget deficits and the police officers that got hurt, because it's being overshadowed by what's going on with Trump and the assassination attempt. Some of y'all are waiting for something to happen to somebody else so that you can get yourself out of the spotlight. We don't know what happened in these other cities because we so consumed with what happened with President Trump. And some of y'all can't wait for somebody else to have a scandal so you can get it off your back. I know y'all happy. Brandon Johnson like, thank you, Jesus. Tiffany Henyard, hallelujah. Karen Bass, praise God. Huh? Eric Adams, won't he do it? Mayor Shane Tao, praise God. Get on off your feet. They are happy. Ain't never seen somebody else, been so happy to see somebody else go through something. Let's get into Biden and what he said in the Oval Office, y'all.
And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back, take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured.
Former Trump. Thankfully, former Trump. They got to stop doing live streams. I know that they like to do what we do as content creators, but they got to stop doing live streams because they need to be able to splice this together, to edit this out. They need to get the Apple team over there. The same Apple team that shoot all of the content with Steve Jobs and they releases, or not Steve Jobs, with Tim Cook, is the same content creators that they need to go and shoot all of this content pre-recorded and then release it to the general public. Do not do no more live streams because they can't even keep this guy coherent. Honest to God. We still ain't over the fact that it just seems like he's having signs of dementia. But let's continue.
Spoke to him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. We do not know the motive of the shooting.
Was this recorded already? This wasn't live? And they still messed it up? They said, just let it go. Just release it. Let it fly.
Yet, we don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support or if he communicated with anyone else. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions. Tonight, I want to speak to what we do know. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. We've traveled before throughout our history. Violence has never been the answer. Whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or a brutal attack on the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, or information and intimidation on election officials, or the kidnapping plot against the sitting governor, or an attempted assassination on Donald Trump. There is no place in America for this kind of violence, or for any violence ever. Period. No exceptions. We can't allow this violence to be normalized. You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that. Yes, we have deeply felt strong disagreements. The stakes in this election are enormously high. I've said it many times that the choice in this election we make in this election is going to shape the future of America and the world for decades to come. I believe that with all my soul. I know that millions of my fellow Americans believe it as well.
I will give them that. That is true. The stakes in this election are incredibly high. Your future depends on it. The future of your children depend on it. Where we allocating our resources depend on it. What wars that we fund next depend on it. Whether or not you're going to pay more in taxes depend on it. What's going to happen in your cities, and is California going to eventually file for bankruptcy just like Oakland will? Depend on it. Whether or not we're going to continue to leave our borders open for migrants to come into this country depends on it. Everything depends on it. Every election is very, very important, and the stakes are high for every single election. He is absolutely 100% correct on that.
And some have a different view as to the direction our country should take. Disagreement is inevitable in American democracy. It's part of human nature. But politics must never be a literal battlefield, or God forbid, a killing field. I believe politics ought to be an arena for peaceful debate, to pursue justice, to make decisions guided by the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. We stand for an America, not of extremism and fury, but of decency and grace. All of us now face a time of testing as the election approaches. And the higher the stakes, the more fervent the passions become. This places an added burden on each of us to ensure that no matter how strong our convictions, we must never descend into violence. The Republican convention will start tomorrow. I have no doubt they'll criticize my record and offer their own vision for this country. I'll be traveling this week making the case for our record and the vision, my vision of the country, our vision. I'll continue to speak out strongly for our democracy, stand up for our Constitution and the rule of law, to call for action at the ballot box, no violence on our streets. That's how democracy should work. We debate and disagree. We compare and contrast the character of the candidates, the records, the issues, the agenda, the vision for America. But in America, we resolve our differences at the battle box. You know, that's how we do it, at the battle box, not with bullets. The power to change America should always rest in the hands of the people, not in the hands of would-be assassin. You know, the path forward through competing visions of the campaign should always be resolved peacefully, not through acts of violence. You know, we're blessed to live in the greatest country on earth, and I believe that with every soul, every power of my being. So tonight, I'm asking every American to recommit, to make America, think about it.
And this is the problem of what happens when you go live. Because I don't believe it was live. Y'all not going to convince me that this was live. I'm not going for it. No way, no how. Or y'all not going to convince me that this wasn't live, that this was pre-recorded. You're not going to convince me of that because he almost just said, make America great again. He literally believes in his opponent. He almost said, make America great again. Did you hear it? Let's go through it again.
Every power of my being. So tonight, I'm asking every American to recommit, to make America,
yeah. 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 Uh-huh. That's correct. He just said it. He might as well just go ahead and endorse it. It will be the first time in history that a person that is on the ballot box to eventually try to compete against Donald Trump or to compete against their opponent in the convention. You know, they're about to have the Democratic National Convention over in Chicago. They got the one going over in Milwaukee right now. It'll be the first time in history, a historic moment, that he just went ahead 4 months before the President of the United States of America is set to be elected, for you guys to vote, for him to just say, make America great again. Go ahead, give yourself a round of applause. Just say it, make America great again. Look at him, he's so disgusted at the fact that he was about to say it.
Every American to recommit, to make America, think about it. What's made America so special? Here in America, everyone must be treated with dignity and respect. And hate must have no safe harbor. Here in America, we need to get out of our silos, where we only listen to those with whom we agree, where misinformation is rampant, where foreign actors fan the flames of our division to shape the outcomes consistent with their interests, not ours. Let's remember, here in America, while unity is the most elusive of goals right now, nothing is more important for us now than standing together. We can do this. You know, from the beginning, our founders understood the power of passion. So they created a democracy that gave reason and balance a chance to prevail over brute force. That's the American we must be. An American democracy where arguments are made in good faith. An American democracy where the rule of law is respected. An American democracy where decency, dignity, fair play aren't just quaint notions, but living, breathing realities. We owe that to those who come before us, to those who gave their lives for this country. We owe that to ourselves. We owe it to our children and our grandchildren. Look, let's never lose sight of who we are. Let's remember we are the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. God bless you all. May God protect our troops.
How many people are feeling inspired by that speech? Just a show of hands. Can we get a show of hands in the chat of how many people was feeling inspired by that speech for us to put together a coalition of people that ultimately are going to speak to our best interests and put aside our differences and make sure that we make America great again and we no longer should be going at each other's necks. Forget the gender war, forget the race war, forget the class war, forget the political agendas. Forget the fact that we just literally tried to trump up charges on this guy and get him removed off of the ballot boxes in certain states. Forget all of that. No, listen, not a big deal. Listen, we have always had differences, but we need to set aside the stakes in this thing, and that only one side is supposed to be the side that can get it off. Look, in my opinion, what we've experienced over these last several years leading up to this election is election interference, but not from the conservative side, from the Democratic side, from the liberal side. I mean, I am never going to forget, and maybe it's to my own demise because I know that I'm not supposed to continue to trump this. I'm not supposed to continue to have this conversation. That let me see if I can pull it up because a lot of y'all not gonna believe it. Bonnie Willis, Atlanta mayor with vice president. It's hard for me to forget this. How can I? How can I just act like it didn't happen? Huh? Why is it that I'm supposed to forget this, even though it's clear and nobody wants to report on it, but I got to be the bad guy and I got to have this conversation? Am I supposed to forget that Fani Willis met with Kamala Harris before indicting Trump? Because to me, personally, that sounds like election interference. How can you not expect for people to fight for their rights, or at the very least fight for the right to be able to pick who they want to choose to be their president of the United States of America? How can we forget about that and act like it didn't happen? Huh? Literally, this woman discovered that they met, and she had a whole live stream and started breaking it down. The claim has been vehemently denied by the White House officials who say that Willis was attending an event for Black History Month. But it just so happens to come at a time right before they decided that they wanted to file Trump up all of these charges. And it's a reason, in my opinion, why she continues to stay in office. Fani Willis had a White House meeting with Vice President Kamala Harris, according to Newsweek, before indicting Donald Trump, a lawyer has claimed during the Georgia State hearing. That was this woman, the same woman that blew the top off of the fact that Fani Willis is lying about the fact that she was in a whole relationship with a guy that she wasn't supposed to be in a relationship with, while also prosecuting people that they wasn't supposed to be prosecuting. Attorney Ashley Martin showed a committee the White House records detailing White House records. This is not a secret. It's all public information detailing that Willis, the district attorney for the Fulton County, Georgia, in the White House on February 28, 2023, before indicting Donald Trump and 18 others in August for allegedly interfering with the 2020 presidential election result in Georgia. Right? Merchant said the White House record she obtained showed that Willis had the meeting with Harris in the company of Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens, a Democrat. So am I supposed to just act like this is not a thing? Because this is not fake news. This is not something that we making up on the fly. This is not something that we trying to figure out. This is something that y'all don't sit and do y'all research, and you not tuned into the Millionaire Morning Show on a regular basis. So how would you be able to come to this conclusion if you don't even have all of the information? Oh, Anton, that's fake news. What's fake news? It's on the White House ledger. It's there. You can go and look it up if you do enough deep dive. You can look it up the same way that she looked it up. It's public information. What did they meet about? Because what they then said, and they came back and said after this, is they said, well, technically they didn't even meet with Kamala Harris. They met with some representatives. See, I don't forget because I do this and I'm immersed in it, and it's just become my life, right? Because I take it serious what I do and what I present. So if it says they met with the vice president or they were scheduled to meet with the vice president, what am I supposed to believe? Because it's a part of the security measure to even get inside of the White House in the first place. Don't worry about it. I guess I'm making that up too. I guess that's just a thing that we trying to figure out because we don't really know. And we don't want to classify that as election interference, though. That doesn't influence you to do the thing that you're going to do, because the only thing you want to say is, well, no, listen, he's being indicted off of 91 different charges. So this don't count? This don't matter? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We gonna get there. We definitely gonna get there. Let me read some of these super chats because they don't want me to have this conversation. The only thing they want me to talk about is be sheep, report the news that's given to you. No, I'm not a part of the AP. I'm not a part of any conglomerate that bought me. The only thing that we sponsor by is Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let me read some of these super chats because they don't want me to talk the way I'm talking. They don't like that. P. Rothstein 216 says, why are there even women in the Secret Service? This is ridiculous. As soon as the bullets rang out, the women became frantic. You can hear one of them saying, what are we doing? What are we doing? Facts. I agree with you. AJ Wise says, did you see the video of the Spectator that got deleted? They had the rag over his head. I can't show that. I got to pick and choose what I show on the Millionaire Morning Show. I can't show that. Pass a love offering. Jamal Fowler in the building. What up, though? The lowly one says, the actual saying, Mr. President, is God bless you and may God bless the United States of America. All right, Enforcer 2K9 is in the building. Shout out to the Enforcer. Says, did the Democrats just try to pass the Disgraced Former Protectees Act to remove Secret Service protection from felons? Now Trump gets hit up. I don't know. I appreciate the super chat. High Tolerance is in the building. Says, I was waiting for Smoking Joe to tell us to call Crime Stoppers if we have any information. Chris James is in the building. Shout out to you. He was just testing to see if he can get it off. Shout out to my dog, Chris James. Don't worry about it. That's one of my rich friends, y'all. That's one of my rich friends. Bushbomb 21B says, Trump did ask for extra security, but was denied by the Secret Service leaders. Now we got to do everything to make sure that we get extra security because he survived. The Gray Way says, even Biden supports Trump. Make America great again. I got to order my hat. Let me order my hat online. I got to do that. Give me a second. I'm going to order it online. High Tolerance says, buffering at 23%. Shout out to Biden. Can't get a word out. The Riddler says, real talk, Trump was supposed to be out this weekend. This was major screw up for the left. They know they can't win and will try again. Jamal Fowler is in the building and says, Donald Trump really is a Teflon Don. I'm Teflon Ton, though. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different. Viper Venom is in the building and says, the security failures prior to this event are the actual criminal act because this is either willful incompetence or the thing we can't say out loud because of YouTube censorship. Shout out to you. Mr. Told You is in the building and says, people forget AG Loretta Lynch met with President Clinton in his airplane on the Phoenix airport tarmac, while he, his foundation, and his wife were under criminal investigation by the Department of Justice. Same place, same formation. I say get in a formation like Beyonce. Spider Clamp in the building says, the left's ability to look past the truth to produce the world results they want is just a continuation of feelings first. Shout out to Spider Clamp. I appreciate you also. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. If you are not subscribed to this channel, hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus a free gift, and 20% off for life. And then last but not least, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat, all right? Let's continue on with the show. We got to get to it. Nothing left to do it, but we got to get to it. So we're going to cover every aspect of this. Who was the shooter? Who is Thomas Crooks? Make sure y'all hit a like, man. Let's get into it, man.
And tonight, federal investigators are delving into Crooks' history. He's being described as a highly intelligent loner who somehow had a secret plan to kill the former president. Police say they found suspected bomb-making material in Crooks' car and evacuated 2 square blocks in Bethel Park while searching his parents' home. That's where we find KDKA lead investigator Andy Sheehan, who shares what he's found out about the would-be assassin. And Andy, what can you tell us?
Well, Erica, news that Thomas Crook was behind this assassination attempt comes as a shock to this quiet Bethel Park neighborhood. Tonight, he remains a puzzle to federal investigators and his former classmates.
Thomas Crooks.
Listen. Did you hear that? Wasn't enough of an applause. This guy could be something that we don't want him to be in the future, y'all. When he turned 20, 21 years old, he gonna be sitting on top of a roof. That applause was not enough of an applause, and so those are the ones that I watch. I don't watch the loud ones, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't watch the people that's shucking and jiving, that's doing a whole lot, or saying what they gonna do to you before they do it to you. Hold me back, hold me back. That ain't the one that I'm looking at. I'm trying to pay attention to understand what the quiet one in the back is doing. Hey, what he doing? Why is his hand still in his pockets? Why he keep playing Pokemon when he 50? Why do he keep being on all of these internet sites that he's not supposed to be on? Hey, check his private search history. Is he on the dark web all the time? He not just awkward. Listen, the awkward ones are the ones that I want to pay attention to. Don't just say, oh, I'm a loner. I'm just looking for my community. Nope. I want to know who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing it and why you keep watching the same movie every single day since he was 5 years old.
Smattering of applause, Thomas Matthew Crooks, who failed in his assassination attempt on former President Trump, is seen here graduating from Bethel Park High School 2 years ago. News of his brazen act comes as a shock to his former classmates.
Anyone who knew him, close or not, it was just not something that we would have ever seen coming.
Lies.
Described as a highly intelligent student who excelled in advanced placement classes in both history and math, former classmate Summer Barkley said he was quiet, kept to himself, but was always with the ready answer.
I like to befriend these type of people. You know, y'all was always getting caught up with trying to make sure that y'all friends was the Neanderthal, the one that we already knew was going to be running the tackle and left, right, left. All of the loud ones, they was cool. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no problem with them in particular. But I wanted the ones that could do your homework, the ones that could help you with calculus classes, AP calculus, advanced math. I wanted the person that wasn't nobody paying attention to. Those were the ones that I rock with, honest to God. Those were the ones that I rock with. I always show love to those type of people. Hey, man, what y'all got going on in the basement? When you would go down to the student union, a lot of people are familiar with the student union. Most student unions on most campuses got multiple different levels. My first semester at UAD, not the private school, but I did a semester at UAD to college before I transferred over and I went to somewhere else because it was a private school. It was costing too much money. I didn't want to pay that much in student loans. I wasn't willing to take out no student loans. I was chill. But in the student union at UAD, when you would go on campus or at Wayne State, a lot of y'all might be familiar with Wayne State, there were sections and pockets in certain places, and there were multiple different levels. And if you went to those different levels, a lot of times, you could see that the cool kids was up there playing pool, get they work study check, they're going to go, and the Neanderthals is going to go, and they're going to go and blow their work study check on getting fresh because it's Friday night. They ain't going to pay off their student loans. They ain't going to do none of that. They're going to take their work study check, go get fresh so that they can hit campus, and they're going to be broke. They're going to have 50 cents in their pocket, but they're going to be fresh. You know what I'm saying? And in a different pocket of the student union, you would have a whole nother type of person. And those were the ones, I hate to say it, listen, don't get mad at me, but they always do this. They always play Dungeons and Dragons. And I never understood the game, and maybe I was one of the Neanderthals to them because I was a lifetime C student, but they was always in the corner, gotcha. Ooh, double card on you. And they wasn't playing spades. They wasn't playing Uno. They wasn't shooting dice. That was where all of the Neanderthals that we was hanging with was out doing. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't going to the games. They was quiet. They was studying, and then they was playing Dungeons and Dragons and Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever, trying to catch them all. Catch them all. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't have money, and you know what I'm saying? They was poor like the rest of us. But those were the ones that I was rocking with. Those were the people that I then defended. Hey, man, what's happening, bro? Hey, you want to come and get some lunch, bro? Hey, can I sit with y'all? And you got to befriend these people because, A, they're smart, and they may just need some type of love in order to help them to bring out their shell. B, they do have some coolness to them. They do have personality. They human beings just like everybody else. And C, you want to be on their side just in case, later on in the future, if they decided that they want to go into a school or something like that, right? Hey, man, I loved you. You want to make sure that you got that trump card. Hey, man, what's going on? Hey. That's Anton. He always loved me. He always showed me love. He never judged me. He always sat at our lunch table. He always came through. Not always, but most of the time he would come through and he would make sure that he would speak to everybody. That's Anton. He cool. Let him go. It's always them. They always fit the description. Always fit the description, bro.
Everyone kind of knew him.
I don't like that stereotype. We all got a stereotype. Everybody. Look, when you go, okay, let me ask you a question since y'all don't believe in stereotypes. Let me ask y'all a question if y'all don't believe in stereotypes. Because you know I'm telling the truth. And because I'm the person that says the quiet thing out loud, the thing that everybody don't want to talk about. Because I'm the person that says the quiet thing out loud, then they want to say, oh, you stereotyping. We all stereotype. That's how we stay alive. Look, if you drive through a neighborhood and it just so happened to start being less and less houses on that street, and you see people that's standing in the street and they shooting basketball and they got do-rags on their head and their pants are sagging all the way to their bottoms, and it don't look like they actually live in a house that they standing in front of, it's probably a crack house, a bando, right? You got to keep your head on a swivel, big dog. And so it's always a type. Don't you know that that's what they do in the FBI? The Behavioral Sciences Unit? You ain't never seen SVU and all of that stuff? Have you ever seen Manhunter on Netflix where they basically highlight and they start to document and pay attention to who the serial killers are by talking to serial killers, and the serial killers is helping the FBI catch all of the people that's serial killers? It's the only way that they was ever going to catch the serial killers. The goal is to make sure that we can preventatively highlight who's going to do what. And so I'm keenly aware. Hey, man, if they standing in front of a house that ain't got no front door, that ain't their house, that's where they selling crack out of. I'm not going to ask them if they need their roof changed because I'm doing door-to-door sales and I'm trying to sell a Kirby vacuum. I'm going to avoid that house. Stereotyping keeps you alive. Don't tell me not to stereotype. I'm 100% going to profile. See, okay, let me change it. It's profiling, not stereotype. That's what allows for us to be able to have an uncomfortable conversation. Okay, I get it. Let's get into it. Let's learn more about the shooter.
The kid that knew everything. So everything we would always joke, say, I bet Thomas knows the answer to this question. If we don't, Thomas knows it.
Like, you could look at him and you would be like, something's a little off.
Though Barkley said Crooks did have
when he said it, it was cool. When he said it, because he over there hanging out in the Hamptons, it's cool. But if I say it, oh my God, you're stereotyping. No, I'm trying to keep you alive. I'm trying to make sure our president don't get shot in his ear. He said it. He said, listen, man. I looked at him. I said, something might be a little off about him.
I bet Thomas knows the answer to this question. If we don't, Thomas knows it.
Like, you could look at him and you would be like, something's a little off.
So because he said it, it's profiling. Because I say it, it's stereotyping. When he said it, it's profiling. But when I say it, it's stereotyping. Y'all judging me.
Though Barkley said Crooks did have a few friends, others described him as a loner with an odd demeanor who was picked on by other students.
See? Keep on picking on him. Keep on picking. I'm not picking on nobody. Only thing I pick on is the people that be bothering the people in the streets, keep calling everybody Esau. You know what I'm saying? You going to hell. Okay, so what you got? Why do you keep telling them? Hebrew Israelites always telling somebody they going to hell, that they guarantee is going to hell. Okay, so why you telling them? You ain't got nothing better to do. You know he going to hell. If you know it for a fact that just because he a white man and you call him Esau, if you know that he's going to hell, why do you feel compelled to stand on the corner and tell him? Why don't you just let him go hell? He going anyway, right? It ain't nothing you can do to save him. So you're not solutions-based? Right? No. Stop picking on people. You'll live longer. If you stop picking on people, you'll live longer.
He did sit alone at lunch. Like he was always alone. I mean, he was bullied every day.
Crooks is the son of Matthew.
So let me ask y'all a question, because just one thing. I'm going to let this finish playing. This man is on here telling the truth. They say he was bullied every single day. He was bullied every single day. Okay. All right. So let's get to the thick of it. Let's get into the thick of it. My question, because I absolutely think that they should have took him out, and there's no reason, and I'm going to read that Cash App and these Super Chat shortly. There's no reason for anybody to try to take somebody else's life. Here's my question. What role do we as a society play in creating the very monsters that then perpetuate a lot of these crimes? What role do we play in creating the monsters? Because we all know, listen, now it ain't stereotyping, because you remember, guess what? All of us went to high school except for your Neanderthal drug dealer that dropped out and said, I'm going to come back and get my GED. How many of us have all encountered, or it may be some of y'all in the chat that was in this position, how many of us have encountered the kid that always got bullied, and then secretly within ourselves, we worried about whether or not that dude is going to snap one day? Because it's only so much you can take. It's only so much he can take. And so he need a soft hand. He need a friend. He needs somebody to hold him down. Hey, man, listen. Hey, man, y'all leave him alone, bro. He cool. He ain't bothering none of y'all. Let him do his thing, man. Y'all so corny for that. Y'all always trying to pick on somebody because you ain't got nothing better to do. You mad because he got a better grade in his class than you and you an idiot. Then the person that's getting picked on goes like, yep. He just need a little bit of a confidence boost. He just need a little bit of a friend. Every one of y'all little women, you couldn't give him a little bit of box. You couldn't tell him, oh, no, you cute. Can we be friends? You couldn't do none of that. You just had to keep on, I ain't never talking to you. Why would you come up to me? Did you play a role in creating the monster that now tried to kill the president of the United States of America? Each and every individual one of y'all. Did y'all play a role? Huh? All you got to do is be nice to him. Hey, what's going on? Listen, he'll be happy to let you copy off of his homework. I promise you. He'll be happy to be able to go and play Xbox with you. You ain't even got to go to his house. You could just go ahead and link up PS5, Xbox, whatever. Show some love. Be nice to people. Not saying that was going to prevent him from doing what he's going to do, and not taking away from the fact that you got to be responsible for what it is that he is. But ultimately, a lot of times we see a lot of these people in society and we neglect them and we shun them and we profile them, but we don't make an adjustment in order to accommodate them. And so y'all got to be nice to people because this dude could absolutely snap one day. He don't feel like he got nothing to lose. Hey, man, I might get taken out anyway. I might as well go and do something that I'm not supposed to do and make a name for myself. This is how I can finally be recognized. Is that stereotyping too?
He was always alone. I mean, he was bullied every day.
Crooks is the son of Matthew and Mary Crooks, here in this middle-class neighborhood in Bethel Park. State records show both parents are licensed behavioral counselors. Matthew works nearby at Community Care Behavioral Health, a subsidiary of UPM.
How you gonna have a kid that's off the hinges, but both of y'all work in behavioral counseling? That just shows you that therapy is a scam. Therapy is a scam. A lot of y'all keep going to therapy every day because I got to make sure that I can get my thoughts off. But then they can't even get control of their own kids inside of their household. You go and question them. Well, we didn't know that he was in a space to where eventually he could go and get on a roof and try to kill a president of the United States of America. But yet y'all over here sending y'all kids to him. Y'all go to him. Behavioral health counseling. They the ones that's determined. They got a kid that they can't even fix inside of their own household. But then at the same time, they over here giving y'all therapy and trying to fix y'all. This is why therapy in a lot of instances, I only know one therapist Shout out to Ray Sean. I only know one therapist in my life that's good. All the rest of these people, they stealing money and they finessing y'all.
MC health plan. Despite his academic achievements, Barkley said after graduation, Thomas Crooks did not go away to college and instead stayed home, living with his parents and enrolled in the Community College of Allegheny County. Sources say federal law enforcement is investigating his mental health history and emotional state leading up to the shooting.
Go and talk to his parents.
The FBI confirms it was Matthew Crooks who legally purchased the AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle his son used in the attack, which wounded the former president, killed an attendee, and critically wounded 2 others. Another student tells CBS News, as a freshman, Thomas Crooks unsuccessfully tried out for the rifle team at the high school, but did not make it for being a poor shot.
Thank God.
Other students tell us Crooks had a keen interest in history and government affairs, but did not display overt political feelings. According to Pennsylvania voter records, he was a registered Republican. But there is also this Federal Campaign Commission record of a 2021 donation giving $15 to Act Blue, a progressive political action committee which funds left-leaning Democratic candidates.
A mole. Somebody that registered as a Republican in order to vote against the person that they think is going to be the Republican nominee or influence whatever it is that they do in order to get the weakest candidate into the Republican, into the Republican National Convention as the nominee so that the liberals can then win. It's a finesse. They do it all the time. I've been to campaign rallies where they almost overtly, but not directly, tell people that are of one particular leaning to register as this on the other side in order to influence what is happening on there. Man, these political games is crazy, bro.
His mother, Mary, is a registered Democrat, and his father, Matthew, is a libertarian. Residents were evacuated last night when federal agents commenced the search of the house and have not been able to return.
No, and my wallet and everything is in my house, so I've been driving around with this dog all night.
Now, this neighborhood has been evacuated and will be evacuated until further notice. Meanwhile, federal investigators are trying to put together the puzzle that is Thomas Crooks.
I'll stay on top of this, ladies and gentlemen. I want to keep y'all informed. You know what we do. If you want to stay informed and you want to be on the greatest morning show, you want to be a part of the greatest morning show in the world, make sure that y'all tap the subscribe button, hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. We rocking out, y'all. We already addressed that. Let me read some of these super chats and then we'll continue on with the show. Miss Crotty Shetty in the building. Shout out to Miss Crotty Shetty. I appreciate you for the fireball, always holding me down. Jay Hunter Lee, what up, says, brother AD, this guy was also featured in the Black Rock commercial. I'm sure that they removed that ASAP. We need a new slogan, cool kids ruin lives. Cool kids ruin lives. Shh. Shh. Chris J in the building says, is it stereotyping profiling if it's true? Oh no, then you're doing you're preventing a murder. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Swagmaster 97, Swagmaster. Although I appreciate the super chat, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and change that name. No more swags. High Tolerance says, these are pandemic kids. These pandemic kids are cut different. No, we was crazy too. I ain't even gonna front. George Height says, Crooks was in a BlackRock ad. Check it out. Easy Chill says, yeah, these type of dudes you keep cool with, the type that tell you they made a real lightsaber and from their own custom AR rounds. Yeah, I agree with you, bro. The Cultivator says, so a 20-year-old alone with no military experience out-strategized the Secret Service and the police, then missed. I don't believe that that's the whole thing. I think that there's way more to it. It's a lot of things that I'm unwilling to say just because I'm on a live stream on YouTube. I have a significant enough platform to make sure that I protect myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so many things that I'm going to say that I'm not going to say that I'm going to say. But I'm definitely going to keep y'all involved. So we want to go over to the Republican National Convention, or more or less the CIA, right? Not the CIA, the Secret Service. Anton, what are you talking about? Let's go over to the Secret Service. So the Secret Service is being blamed for this failure and this mishap. And we have the Republican National Convention coming up. Now, nobody in their right minds, nobody, and I mean nobody in their right minds, whatever attempt to do anything after a former president was attempted an assassination, we got to wait another 30 to 50 years in order for that to happen, okay? Nobody in their right minds would ever try anything at the Republican National Convention, or would they? But at the very least, we want to get the CIA. Why do I keep saying the CIA? We want to get the Secret Service's perspective and whether or not they feel confident enough to be able to protect the president of the United States, the next president of the United States, 4 to 5, 4 to 7, at the Republican National Convention and what the security plans are. All right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Well, we want to take you now live over to Milwaukee. The Secret Service is giving an update on security measures ahead of the Republican National Convention. They are not answering questions about the incident in Butler, Pennsylvania, though.
We'll read the cash apps too in a minute.
Law enforcement and public safety partners work together to design security plans for national special security events. They are designed to be adaptable based on the changing security landscape and most up-to-date intelligence from our partners. We've been working on the RNC security plan for more than a year and have been in constant coordination with our partners and the Republican National Committee. During our extensive planning efforts, we have accounted for various security scenarios that may arise, and we are confident in the plan we have implemented for the Republican National Convention this week. That security plan will remain in place. While we cannot discuss the specifics, means, and methods used for our protective operations, our protective methodology for NSSEs is based on a layered approach that includes support from federal, state, and local law enforcement and public safety partners. We will continue to assess the security environment and adapt our security measures as appropriate. The Secret Service is working diligently with the Milwaukee Police Department, as well as all of our federal...
Summary. I'm not doing no recap. I will say this, though. I will say this. I'm sorry for being muted. I will say this, though. Generally, they try to have these conventions. I'm sorry, I apologize, y'all. It hasn't happened in a long time. Y'all got to give me some grace. Generally, they have these conventions in places where they want to influence what is happening or they want to have it in a swing state. So they won't most times. Sometimes they will. It depends on whether or not the city bids for it. But they generally try to stay away from having it in places that are already solidified. So Republicans is not going to go down to Texas. They may sometimes. Democrats is not looking to go down to Texas because they can't impact and influence what's happening as far as the vote happening down there. So it's harder to get a bid from a major city or from a major city that is already traditionally red or blue. They go to places like a Chicago or a Michigan or a Milwaukee or someplace like that. They prefer to go to those places. And then what that does is that hopefully influences and impacts the vote or the swing voters over in those particular places. Now, I think that Chicago or the Democrats actually made a very, very bad decision in choosing Chicago to have their Democratic National Convention. Well, why did they make a bad decision to choose Chicago to have the Democratic National Convention? One of the reasons that they did that, or one of the reasons why it's so bad, is not only is Chicago down over 2,000 officers, not only is Chicago down over 2,000 officers, but because usually what happens in Chicago is that when there's a major event, such as the Grand Prix a couple weekends ago, you've seen the correlation of there was over 100 people shot, especially in a warm climate or a warm environment. There was over 100 people shot over that weekend. Why? Because they then reduced the capacity of the police officers that are down over 2,000 police officers. They're reducing the capacity, and those police officers are not allocated towards the major event. So if you don't think that the Democratic National Convention is going to be consumed with every resource that Chicago has, then leaving the neighborhoods open completely to crime and violence, especially in one of the warmer times in the state, you are confused. But they will make the sacrifice of you in order to make sure that they run those dollars up because they need the money. And they need all of the influx of money and the people flying in and the convention dollars and all of that stuff and the tourism dollars coming into Chicago. And so I think that it's always bad when they do it in major cities. Not only can they not impact and influence what's happening with the vote, but they're also going to be taking resources away from residents that actually need those people inside of that city. Let's continue.
I'll now introduce the mayor of the city of Milwaukee, Mayor Cavalier Johnson.
Thank you. Several months ago, folks in this room may recall,
that I worked with a bipartisan group of individuals.
Hold on. Let me look at this. No Cap Finance says, Anton, you are so weird sometimes. Y'all got to put some periods in between y'all sentences. Y'all can't just keep talking. You got to put some periods in between your sentences. Anton, you are so weird sometimes. You have way more passion for the white shooter than the black person I've heard you speak about. What black person specifically are you talking about? Talking about the ones that perpetuate the crimes inside of the communities? I have compassion for the white shooter. So because I gave you the blueprint of how not to get yourself killed and being able to profile and identify the people that could possibly be doing some of the worst things in society, all of a sudden Anton has passion for the shooter. When did I say that I understand or I actually feel for him? I said that it's usually the people that get bullied are the ones that come back as the shooters. I also said, and I preface it by saying, hey man, he need to be held accountable for his actions, and I'm glad that he did, because you can never shoot and try to kill a former president. And then I said that therapy is a scam. But you know, this is what happens with our blackity blacks, right? With people that can't see beyond race, they can't compute it. It doesn't make sense to y'all. Everything comes back down to black or white. Never mind the fact that we need to be very, very mindful about the fact that a former president / becoming a new president just got his ear shot off. Somehow, it doesn't matter if we talk about stocks. It don't matter if we talk about shooters. Don't matter if we talk about president of the United States. Politics, money, hoes, relationships, gender war. It always comes back to the same thing. Black versus white. Why don't you have more passion for the black shooters? I don't have no compassion for nobody that's shooting and killing nobody. What's wrong with you, idiot? You the weird one, because you the only person that see color when it comes to people that's killing people. As a matter of fact, I think listen, let me do this. Let's just go ahead and remix it. I think that we should be harder on the people that look like you that kill you, because you can't sit here and say Black Lives Matters and then it's subjecting yourself to the idea that people is killing you inside of your own city. Why wouldn't you be harder on the ones that look like you that's doing you the worst? Why wouldn't I be harder on my family if they the one that betrayed me versus somebody that's out in the streets? I'm going to give them grace in the streets because I don't even care about whether I expect for people to do me dirty in the streets. I'm going to be more pissed if the person that's closest to me is the one that do me dirty because I didn't expect it from you when you should actually have more compassion for me. You the weird one. You the weird one. You give a pass to the people that's sitting right next to you that slap you in the face every day, but then you want to have more. You the weird one. You the weird one. Think about what you say before you say it. Do you have a greater expectation for people that look like you, that's around you, to treat you better, and have a lesser of an expectation for people that don't know you, yet people that don't know you treat you better than the people that's next to you don't actually hold you down? Think about what you're saying before you say it. The reason why we get so emotional and upset when it's people that's next to us or people that's in close proximity to us is because they have a vested interest in us being successful. Your success is my success. That's why you so hurt when your wife cheat on you and you can't take her back and then you become an incel. Now, if a chick that's for the streets go out there and she busting it down for a real one, but then you bust her down, you don't have no regard for her. Why? Because you don't care for her and you actually expect her to do dumb stuff. But when the person that's next to you do you dirty, you're going to be bothered by it. It's not that you're going to have more compassion. You might hold them accountable even more. It's the opposite. So I'm always going to be aware and mindful of what's happening around me, but I don't have greater expectation for the person that I don't know versus the person that's sitting next to me. Of course I'm going to be more disappointed if somebody that's black come up and kill a black person. Of course I'm going to be harder on them. Of course I'm going to hold them more accountable. Because they're not supposed to be doing it. And you can't say that it matters and advocate for it for everybody else if you don't even care about yourself. Why would I put greater expectation on you than I have on myself? That's the very definition of getting the beam out of your own eye. Fixing your own household first. You the weird one. You weird, not me. You weird. That's why our culture and our community is so broken. Because y'all really don't understand what you're saying before you say it. You type it because you're so used to people pandering to you But I'm not that. I'm going to be the person that's going to tell you the truth. I don't care nothing about what you think. I'm going to tell you the truth. Hold the people that's closest to you accountable. Can't hold somebody I don't know accountable. I don't know him. I'm taking preventative measures against him. I have greater expectation for you because you're next to me. And the closer you get to me, the greater the accountability has to be as far as if you do me dirty. And that's why we get so passionate about certain things. Think about what you're saying and put a period in between your sentences and don't keep having run-on sentences. Stop just being a line based off of race. It's all based off of logic. Think. We got to be independent thinkers. We can't just keep doing what we're doing and expecting for that just to be the narrative. Y'all just spitting stuff that y'all see other people say. It's not relevant to what we having as far as a part of this conversation. Think your way out of that brown paper bag, big dog.
Republicans and Democrats with one goal in mind, to make sure we have a safe convention for everybody. These national special security events, especially as they relate to the Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention, have been stuck at $50 million since 2004. Obviously, things cost a little more than what they did in 2004, and so via phone, via trips to Washington, D.C., and working with members of Congress on both sides of the aisle, we were able to get a $25 million increase to our security grant. I say all that to say that we take this matter very, very seriously. We take public safety very, very seriously. And I've been so pleased to work in collaboration, not just with the United States Secret Service, but also with local law enforcement and public safety on the ground here. As was mentioned, we're joined by the chief of the Milwaukee Fire Department, Aaron Lipsky, who's been a great partner. And we're also joined by the chief of Milwaukee Police Department, Jeffrey Norman, who's been a great partner as well, working to bring in law enforcement officers from not just across the state of Wisconsin, but across the United States to help out with public safety here. Let me just reiterate what was already said. This is an NSSE, a National Special Security Event. It is the highest designation that you can get for a security event of its size and magnitude in the United States. We have that designation, and we'll continue to work to make sure that public safety is tantamount here in this community. With that in mind, I'll take the opportunity to pass it over to the Chief of the Milwaukee Police Department, Chief Jeffrey Norman.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson.
Some people say I give people too much airtime. No, this is an interactive show, and I like to interact with the chat. That's why it's so great. I don't just spew and just put together a show. This is a loosely put together, produced show that allows for me to interact with the chat. That's why I love y'all. And so when y'all right, y'all right. When y'all wrong, and I'm gonna call it out no matter what. Shout out to my man that got that shadow of a hairpiece in the back. He not focused.
18 months. 18 months that these plans have been put into place in regards to what we're going to have for this event. This is a collaboration between federal, state, local, but beyond just from a law enforcement community, this is a collaboration between our elected leaders from both local, state, and also national. But also we have engaged community. We have workings with our community members in regards to ensuring the safety of this event. While we cannot talk about the operational plans, I can say from the CEO of the Milwaukee Police Department, this local police department here, I'm very comfortable in regards to the plans that we have made together.
All right, we get it. The fact of the matter is it's going to be a very, very difficult thing for them to be able to, I think that these jobs, sometimes the police chief and all of this stuff, I think that they're very difficult jobs to do. And it's a thankless job because if you do what you're supposed to do and keep everybody safe, then you're just doing your job. That's what you're getting paid for. That's what you signed up for. If you don't meet expectations and if there's anything that goes off that does not make sense, then you're going to be held accountable for it. You see what I'm saying? So it's a very difficult job to do. I do think it's very difficult for them to get up in the morning and know that they don't have all of the answers, but they try to parade it out to us. But I do hope that everybody is safe. I hope everything works out and that they take care of business and nobody gets hurt at the Republican National Convention. Let me read some of these super chats. Let me start with the Cash App. Shout out to everybody that was texting me saying that I was muted. Rand Wilson says, salute, big dog. Is Donald Trump plane made by Boeing? Probably. I wouldn't know. Frank White in the building. Frank White says, AD, I with you heavy. Oh, shout out to my dog, Frank White. I appreciate you. Chris James, my rich friends, says, Millionaire Morning Show got my super chat on the pip. Shout out to my rich friends, Chris James. I appreciate you for the 100 ball. The Done. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all are actually tuning in to the Q show tonight? I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be on the panel with other people that may or may not be afraid to have a conversation with Time Dog about what's going on. Make sure y'all tune in tonight. We're going to address a lot of this nonsense that's happening in the streets. Shout out to Tia Marie. Tia Marie says, Anton, a 20-year-old is giving Remy. Yes, that's exactly the first person that I thought about. I thought about Michael Rappaport from Higher Learning and Remy, and that he was so easily influenced when that's not even the thing that he went to college for in the first place. From Higher Learning vibes, easily manipulated into doing something for the cause. I agree with you 100%. 100%. Very much so. Jones FX 424 says this guy was activated. MK Ultra. Shout out to you. You were probably doing your best cooking when you was on mute. That's probably true. I was cooking. Minnesota County Unsolved Crime Channel says, Anton, how does your Umar Johnson, peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. Shout out to all of my Pan-Africans that follow Umar Johnson, that is on the diamond tier, donating to his school that still need carpet. Appreciate y'all. Anyways, I got some thoughts. As we go through and as we continue to put on the greatest show, greatest morning show on the face of this earth, I have some thoughts. I think that we have lost our way as people. I think that we have turned away from God. I think that we have turned away from the things that are best for us. And it's only being reflected in the things that we see happening every day. From our relationships, all of our households are broken. Y'all are single baby mamas, diseases, people don't have no loyalty amongst each other. You tear up your own households, you ruin your own neighborhoods. You are influenced by and don't think for yourself. You wait for somebody to tell you how to think instead of having a coherent thought. I think that we are absolutely broken as Americans and as a culture, as a Western culture, when it comes to race and race relations, because instead of us understanding that it's a class war, we focus so much on whether or not we think that somebody is against us or if you should align with somebody just based off of things that you can't control. Some people align with people just based off of the fact that they're a woman or a man or you a simp. And it's women that find their peace amongst other women that can champion my cause at that particular time. Have you ever noticed how we group ourselves off and then we don't necessarily ever leave that group, but we find a sense of loyalty or dedication to it just because they accepted you, right? Some of y'all are, I hate to say it. The only reason that you align with black people is because you don't necessarily believe that black people is right. It's just because you black. That's it. And the word says, and even the Bible says, that your family is not the people that you are born to, right? When Mary came looking for Jesus, when they were with the apostles, and the Acts of the Apostles in particular, and I'm just recalling this, and I'm literally just giving you my honest to God thoughts. When Mary was coming looking for Jesus and she was knocking, and Jesus said, listen, y'all my brothers and sisters, y'all my mother, y'all the people that I'm going in the direction that I'm going in. Yes, I can acknowledge my parents and I can give them honor. And yes, I can treat people with respect. And yes, I can also be there for my family because I know them and I grew up with them, but I'm not with them just because they're my family. I rock with people in my family in particular, not all of them, but most of them, because they actually have my best interests at heart. And that's why I rock with the Bag Chasers. If you're not a Patreon member, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I roll with people that roll with me. I have uncomfortable conversations with people that think differently than me because maybe I can adopt some of the things that they think or do or the things that they're doing right. I don't have to agree with them on everything. I don't think that you should agree with me on everything. I don't know anybody that agrees 100% with anybody that they cool with, because we all have differences of opinion. We all have different experiences, and we all are supposed to formulate our thoughts based off of the things that we see, and then we take into consideration what you say and compare that against our real life experiences, and then come to a conclusion. And then hopefully we continue to be better than we was the day before. But we're not doing that today. The only thing that we're doing today is we're being impacted by decisions that somebody else made for us to force us to think a certain way because it's the popular thing to do. It's never popular to go against the grain. Never popular to go against the grain, ever. And that's how we become divided. Because the first people that then say, you know what? I'm not aligning with this agenda just because I'm black. I'm not going to sit here and buy a Black Lives Matters t-shirt just because I'm black. And if you start thinking for yourself and you start having critical thinking skills, they'll criticize you for it. But the biggest obstacle that you have as a free thinker is to withstand the criticism and continue to explore. Because if I ask too many questions, it's similar to how a lot of y'all grew up in church or you grew up in your household. If you ask enough questions and you say, well, listen, I do think that Black Lives Matters, but the context is that I don't think that you respect each other enough to even make that statement because you kill each other in your own neighborhoods. Or why should I buy this Black Lives Matters t-shirt and I don't even know who these people are that is a part of this organization? Oh man, I did a little bit of more research. They're going to criticize you, but you keep doing the research. And you say, wait a minute, this is a Marxist organization that is ran by black lesbians. And the sheep are going to continue to tell you, listen, it don't matter. You still black, so you can't go against us. You got to be a part of the sister code or the brother code or stay on code. Give your money to the people. And even though they're going to make you look like a fool in the end, you do it because you are peer pressured by people that don't even have your best interests at heart. And so if I don't wear a dashiki, even though I may have a black wife, or if I don't sit here and donate to a Marxist organization that eventually finessed y'all, and we told y'all that they was going to finesse y'all, but I make sure that I pour into my community, you're going to say that you're blacker than me, even though my actions show that I'm more pivotal towards the progress and the success of my city and my country and my community, and even to the people that I love more than you. Think about it. The hypocrisy is so real that you could be a single baby daddy, wear a dashiki, get your hair nappy, and ask for donations online. Meanwhile, I could be 20 years in, married to a black wife, be the father or daughter, be a community and a pillar, speak to the kids in the high schools, give people jobs that 98, 99% of them are black and women, and you can be considered blacker than me. You could be considered blacker than me. But see, the one thing that I lean on, and the reason why I'm so steadfast, is because he said that they would persecute you, and that if you don't suffer with me, then you can't reign with me. So I'm not worried about what they think. The only thing that we use this platform for is to entertain, get the money out of it, and then make sure that we pluck out all of the ones that want to listen. We're not worried about the majority. We're worried about the minority, the ones that have ears. Let them hear it. So we then teach it, and we preach it, and we entertain you, but at the same time, we invite you in as an opportunity to be able to level up and align yourself with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. And one of the reasons why we're so divided is because we're not tolerant of the possibility of what if. Biden was 100% wrong when he assessed this whole Trump narrative, or, you know what, we need to calm the political climate. It's not the political climate. It's the core of who we are at our hearts. It's who we are in our hearts. It's who you are when you go to sleep at night. It's when you wake up in the morning, how do you feel? People are fundamentally broken in the inside, and you can't sit here and have a conversation with people that are fundamentally broken in the inside, because what happens is they are unable to think clearly. They can't have real coherent thoughts because they're influenced by the things that's happening around them. I'll give you a prime example. It's hard to tell a kid that is hungry and is coming from a broken household that is going to school that they can focus when they're in school. It's very much difficult to teach that child. So the core root of the problem isn't just on the surface to say we all need to calm down. No, you need to stop having children out of wedlock and creating a poverty-stricken situation that would then force this child to be more focused on whether or not their stomach is growling than whether or not this calculus problem is what it is. It's not that you couldn't learn in school. It was that you was hungry. It's not that you couldn't learn in school. It's that you were hungry. You don't have a problem with math. Your stomach was growling. You don't have a reading problem. Your uncle was touching on you at the crib. You ain't got no daddy in your life because I just reviewed a video of a woman that said that she got 7 kids by 7 baby daddies, and you're not upset at that. We're divided because you're ignorant. We're divided because you're not intentional. We're divided because you only want to hear and stand in a space that make you feel good because you're so used to being molested and touched on and feeling bad. And so the first time that somebody accepts you when they give you a little bit of meat, and they tell you that you cute, you're willing to open up your legs. You're willing to accept whatever agenda that they have for you. You're willing to say that all men is bandits because they want to make you feel better about the fact that you chose wrong. But we're divided because we're broken at the core of who we are as Americans. We don't stand for anything anymore because we're so distracted by all of the things that's happening to us instead of the things that's happening around us. How can I pay attention to what's happening around me when I'm under duress and I'm getting my ass kicked every day? You can't feed yourself, right? You don't have the ability to be able to provide for yourself. You got student loan debt from self-inflicted wounds because your parents that was a part of a liberal party told you to go and get student loans and you felt compelled and you was happy. So you took out these student loans because I was going to be the first person in my family to go to college. And it didn't matter what curriculum you was a part of or what degree program that you was supposed to be a part of, but they led you into a den of destruction. And so instead of you aligning yourself, when you listen to me, and you say, I don't like him, you're fighting against your own best interests. You're fighting against your own best interests. You like the people that tell you what you want to hear. You don't like the person that tells you the truth. And I understand it. I get it. But I also understand that in the same way that you're supposed to tell them and let them come back to it, I don't need the credit. I just want you to be better. Because I don't want you to hurt nobody in your community. I don't want you to hate women. I don't want you to be broke. I don't want you to be begging the government for student loan forgiveness and voting a certain way that's not in your best interest just because you're looking for somebody to forgive you. The core of who we are as far as becoming a better person is to remove the beam out of their own eye. The division comes from being broken as an individual and as a person. You ain't got to go to therapy. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with you right here, right now. The reason why you so broken and the reason why you can't get yourself together, the reason why you broke, the reason that you vote the way that you vote, the reason that your kids don't like you, the reason that you're going to get fired tomorrow because you got a bad attitude at your job, the reason why you continue to align yourself with a group of incels on the internet, the reason why you continue to align yourself with a bunch of feminists that know that they want a man, but refuse to admit the fact that they don't want to go out there and compete with a monster like me for resources in order to be able to take care of themselves. The reason that you are that way is because you are broken in the inside. We broken as Americans. We can't focus on coming together. You can't tell a bunch of people to come together until they got themselves together. The only time that people come together that are broken is in order to mob up against something that they don't like. That's it. That's the only time that people come together. Only people that are whole and wholesome can have an uncomfortable conversation and come together, agree to disagree, because they actually want the best thing for themselves. It's the same thing with sports. The reason that sports fans are so easily able, even though they come from different walks of life, you can be living there, I can live in the city, you can be white, I can be black, but we all rooting for the same team. You know why? Because we got a common interest in this team, bringing us together and then ultimately, hopefully giving us a championship. And we can go all our lives. You could be the Chicago Bears and be one of the most trash teams in the league. The Detroit Lions, just a few years ago, was 0-16 almost. You know what I'm saying? But the minute that they started to win, we all came together and we started to have solidarity. You know why? You know why? Because we have a similar interest, a similar goal. And the only time in other situations that people then come together when they are broken, is when they don't like somebody else. It's the reason why people that's on the liberal side then tell you. If you ask them and you have a conversation with them and you say, hey, who you voting for and why? And they say, I'm voting for Biden. And then you say, okay, well, tell me why. They're not going to say because this policy helped me or the infrastructure deal was awesome or I love the fact that we sent the money over to Ukraine or anything like that. They're going to say, I'm voting for him because I don't like Trump. And so people come together often at times and they depending on you. They banking on it. They betting on it that you're going to come together with somebody that don't even have your best interests at heart to make sure that y'all form a group against somebody else. But this is what I will also tell you is that when you do this and it happens and whatever it is take place, let's say that you're successful, you never feel good as a result of it afterwards. You don't feel better after you do the crime. You don't feel better after you get what you want. You just become more hungry for more of it because you think that it's going to satisfy you. But at some point you realize that that craving, that sugar that you're putting in your system is not fulfilling. It's just a dopamine hit. It's a temporary solution for a circumstance that you still going to have to wake up and deal with. You still got to deal with your broken self. You still got to deal with your baby mama. You still got to deal with the fact that you broke. At the end of the day, and I tell people this all the time, even if you're mad at me, you still got to wake up and be you. I'm good. For every video that's ever been made against me, or for anybody that has ever said anything negative about me, they promoted me. I will tell you over the past 2 weeks, and the numbers speak to it, I've probably had one of the best past 2 weeks on YouTube in my entire life. I can't miss. I'm trending in the algorithm. I'm winning on every single level. When people take their time out to make a video in order to say that they don't like something that I said or something like that, they help me. YouTube promotes me. I talked to my YouTube representative and they said, Anton, you on fire. Keep doing what you're doing. It's a blessing. You don't hurt people, you hurt yourself. And so the thing that you should do is to look to fix you. Get the beam out of that own eye, fix yourself, so that you can then create a better environment and make a better decision, not based off of your emotions, but based off of logic, based off of the fact that you should not be aligning with people just because they look like you, or you should not be getting this job just because you're in a diversity, equity, and inclusion program. You should not be voting or feeling some type of way about this assassination attempt other than sympathy for the person or the person that's ultimately hurt in the result of this, because this should never happen in our country. We're so divided that the first thing that people say is it's a conspiracy theory, or this is fake, or it was a setup, instead of saying, is he okay? It's the first thing that we should be saying is are they okay? But because we broken in here, it's going to show in every other aspect of our lives. And you can't hide it. Because eventually we're going to pull that hoe up out of you. It is what it is. Fix you, and then you can focus on what the community wants. Until then, shut the fuck up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Patreon video exclusive coming this afternoon. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love my people. I love the bag chasers. Shout out to the chasers. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I definitely want to read y'all super chats before we get up out of here. Ain't nobody doing what I do. Ain't nobody doing what we do. They can't even talk the way that I talk. They can't walk the way that I walk. They ain't even got this type of thing that's in their pants to even be able to swing the way that they swing. You walking like a woman. You don't even know how to walk like a man. J. Hunter Lee says classified documents case against Trump just got dismissed. Of course it did. Skinny D-Boy Django Morrison says, that's a heck of a name. Second time super chat. Shout out to my second time super chatters and my first timers. Became a bag chaser in March. Tried to wait, but I couldn't wait no longer for you to open up the Lord's here. See you in Houston. Shout out to my Houstonians that's going to rock out with me. Hey, bag chasers, don't tell nobody where the location is. It's only for the chasers. Links in. How many chasers we got? Let me see how many chasers we got out here in these streets. I need to see how many chasers we got. Have we crossed the 8,000 mark? Yeah. Remember the last time that I talked to y'all, I said that we was getting there? We was going to cross the 8,000. We already at 8.
You see that? Almost at 8,100 chasers. If you're not a part of the bad chasers, if you're not a part of the Patreon, we strong. There's a reason why people love us. If you're not a part of the chasers, don't have a location. We got our own army. We don't even care about what these people are talking about. They tell us, I'm seeing
We move things around because we're recording yesterday. Give me a second. Give me a second. Is this right? Is this right? All right. Are we good yet? All right, we good. We back. Can a woman from our community yell racism with a white woman's wig on? Absolutely. Khalil Rogers says, yeah, man, preach. Shout out to Khalil Rogers. I appreciate you. And then High Tolerance is in the building. High Tolerance says, Pete Candace cooking on Don Lemon the other day. Yeah, we're going to do a review video on that. Listen, don't be communists. Don't be communists, okay? Don't be Marxists. Don't have a class war and then try to cloak it in the frame of blackity black or Black Lives Matters and then align it and then put the whole idea of being a lesbian on top of it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Make sure that y'all align with the Bag Chasers. Tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And then become educated voters. Become informed voters. Don't just vote. Become informed voters, all right? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. But we're going to fix this and we're going to get this back set up the way that it usually is so that we can have a good conversation. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Again, make sure y'all tap. Oh, hold on. Before we get up out of here, I got to acknowledge the people on Cash App also. ESD, Easy Money C says the mic is messed up. Thank you, Easy Money C. I appreciate you. And then Rand Wilson says, salute, big dog. I appreciate you also. Shout out to everybody that held me down on Cash App. And shout out to everybody that's in the that's in the Patreon and the Bag Chasers. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We got the Q show tonight. That should be popping. All right. Greatest show on earth. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.